When rappers meet their crush and completely lose it.
But most of all, we love the woman who hasn't changed since day one. She's someone I've been in love with since I was 22 years old. She's one of my best friends in the world. All my adult life, I've looked up to her even though she's younger than me. She's a living, breathing legend in our industry. Ladies and gentlemen, the recipient of the Michael Jackson Vanguard Award for 2016.
Buzzbuster welcomes you back. Tupac's story didn't end with music. While behind bars, he penned a romantic letter that later sold for well into six figures. He wasn't the only rapper whose feelings spiraled into something unforgettable. Eminem turned a harmless celebrity crush into a feud that lasted 2 decades, while Kanye spent 10 years watching his dream woman move through other relationships before finally getting his chance. These stars crossed paths with the people they admired, and in some cases, everything changed. The final story is especially hard to believe. Let's dive in. Start with Eminem. In 1999, Christina Aguilera was just 18, riding the wave of her debut album after it shot to #1. Around that time, she had a small and fairly innocent crush on one of the fastest rising names in rap, Eminem. As it turned out, the feelings seemed to go both ways. Following his win at the 1999 MTV Europe Music Awards, Eminem reportedly kept a poster of Christina and openly said he thought she was attractive.
I'm looking forward to meeting Eminem, actually.
You want to meet Eminem?
Yeah, I want to meet Eminem. I think he's cute.
I don't even know if I want this award. I might just take Christina home tonight.
I guess I was his award. It was really, really cute.
She's cute, and I've heard little things that she said about me or whatever.
He's actually been a crush of mine for a while now. Eminem. Anyway.
You know I thought it was about to go down, right? Christina and Britney just came out here. I thought they was presenting the award.
For a moment, it looked like a playful celebrity connection, the kind of light drama tabloids love to spotlight. That's where the tone shifted. Early in 2000, during her MTV special What a Girl Wants, Christina brought up reports that Eminem had quietly married Kim. She also referenced the unsettling lyrics in 97 Bonnie and Clyde, the track where he describes violence toward the mother of his child. What had started as a harmless crush suddenly moved into much more complicated territory, and the mood around their connection changed fast. She wasn't coming for him at all. At the time, Christina was just a teenage pop star speaking up about violent themes in music. Eminem didn't treat it like a casual comment. He took it as a direct shot.
Not long after, the real Slim Shady arrived, and his response was suddenly everywhere. In the song, he mocked her publicly, tossed out a claim about an STD, and even turned her into an inflatable caricature in the video. That alone would have been enough to spark headlines, but it kept escalating. On Off the Wall with Redman, the lyrics went even further, using imagery about pulling her by the hair and dragging her across the Sahara.
Girl that he talks about killing on his record, actually.
And I was like, no, you didn't just say that, you little bitch.
Little bitch put me on blast on MTV. Yeah, he's cute, but I think he's married to Kim.
And then she said, yeah, doesn't he have a song about killing his baby's mother?
Girls out there, don't let a guy disrespect you.
And I always tell my friends, I'm so against domestic violence, and if you're in an abusive relationship, and I was like, why did she just pick my video if she's picking it apart? She didn't know if I was married or not. She just heard a rumor and then put me on blast. But I figured, well,
Later, an entire web series sketch showed up, ridiculing her under the name Christina Aguilera. What started as one teenager voicing discomfort became a feud that refused to disappear. Years passed, but the situation still wasn't over. Even in 2018, Eminem mentioned her again during his kickoff freestyle, proving the tension had never fully faded. Christina eventually addressed it herself on Watch What Happens Live, making it clear she had long since reached her conclusion. What began as a teenage admiration turned into nearly 18 years of public hostility aimed at her. That's how long the fallout lasted, and how far Eminem was willing to take it. Drake's story with Rihanna started in 2005 during the filming of Pon de Replay in Toronto. He was just a background extra. She was already on her way to becoming a major star, and from that point on, he never seemed to fully move on. By 2009, the two were reportedly seen kissing at It All Started at Lucky Strike Bowling Alley in New York, not long after Rihanna's breakup with Chris Brown. Drake later turned that moment into music on Fireworks, describing how she gave him a glimpse of something real, only to vanish and leave him feeling used. Most people would assume that was the end of the story. In reality, it was only the opening scene. For the next decade and a half, Rihanna kept resurfacing throughout Drake's catalog. Her presence seemed woven into project after project, from What's My Name and Take Care to Marvin's Room and The Ride.
At the 2016 MTV VMAs, Drake gave a touching speech while presenting Rihanna with the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award. He shared that he had been in love with her since he was 22, then tried to kiss her, but she dodged it, and he ended up kissing her cheek. Rihanna later said in a Vogue interview that the moment was the most uncomfortable part of the night.
No matter which phase of his career you look at, there always seemed to be a Rihanna thread running through it. Their songs together carried undeniable chemistry. Their appearances on stage felt intense, and speculation about an on-again, off-again romance kept building through 2012. Everything reached a major public moment at the 2016 MTV VMAs. Standing before a massive audience while presenting Rihanna with the Video Vanguard Award, Drake openly admitted he had loved her since he was 22. He leaned in for a kiss, social media erupted, and Rihanna handled the moment with visible restraint before moving on. Not long after, she made the situation even clearer. In a 2017 interview with Vogue, Rihanna said they were no longer friends, though they were not enemies either. She kept going forward. Drake, at least in the eyes of many fans, never fully let it go. By 2023, Rihanna was raising 2 children with A$AP Rocky and seemed completely at peace, while Drake dropped For All the Dogs, sending eagle-eyed listeners back into detective mode. Listeners picked up on quiet jabs in songs like For Fear of Heights, with lyrics many took as references to her current partner, and even those island getaways in the Antilles, especially Barbados. Viewed in that light, it doesn't come across as love. It feels more like a long-running obsession. The idea of someone still writing about a woman 2 decades after a brief romance while she's building a family with someone else lands very differently.
She's someone I've been in love with since I was 22 years old. She's one of my best friends in the world. All my adult life, I've looked up to her even though she's younger than me. She's a living, breathing legend in our industry. Ladies and gentlemen, the recipient of the Michael Jackson Vanguard Award for 2016. Yeah.
For some, that fixation became the fuel for an entire catalog. Kanye West is another striking example. His interest in Kim Kardashian began long before she became the global name people know today. Back in the early 2000s, he saw a photo of her beside Paris Hilton at a time when Kim was working as a stylist for Brandy. From that moment, he was captivated. Years later, Kanye openly said he wanted to marry that girl the first time he saw her. What stands out is how long he stayed invested. He watched from nearby through Reggie Bush, through Chris Humphries, and through every chapter of Kim's dating life. Rather than stepping away, he remained in the orbit as a friend, patient and focused, waiting for an opening. The intensity didn't stop there. He even wrote poetry about her while she was still married to someone else. Those words eventually evolved into the lyrics for Lost in the World on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. By the time his opportunity arrived in 2012, the buildup had already been years in the making. He went all in. On her birthday, at a baseball stadium, he got down on one knee as a full orchestra played and presented a 15-carat ring. From there, he helped turn Kimye into a brand, a spectacle, and a permanent headline.
If we were ever to be together again, what would our name be? Kimye.
Would you like that?
What habits did you change when we moved in together?
I stopped being lonely.
When I divorced him, you have to know it came down to just one thing: his personality.
I just tell the truth, and telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies.
Never was much of a romantic. I could never take the intimacy.
Their romance became part of reality TV, and nearly 10 years of longing was transformed into a worldwide media event. Still, waiting that long for one person can come with a cost. Sometimes devotion doesn't stay devotion. Sometimes it shifts into something far more complicated. By 2025, Kanye was on live stream making headlines again, saying he wished he'd had children with Paris Hilton instead of Kim because of the Hilton family wealth. After spending close to a decade chasing one woman, he was now publicly recasting the story in real time. That's where things start to feel unsettling. When admiration grows unchecked, it can stop looking like love and start resembling fixation. The boundary between the two becomes harder and harder to see.
Tupac Shakur had a story that carried a very different energy. In the mid-90s, he and Madonna were involved, but they kept it private. Almost no one knew at the time.
Years later, Madonna finally acknowledged it during an interview with Howard Stern. From everything that's been said, the connection between them was powerful and deeply felt.
Madonna is coming to visit me. Madonna has so much power that the guards let me take an extra shower.
Wow.
I had guards walking me downstairs, everything, trying to people look.
And did she come?
I was dating Tupac Shakur at the time.
I didn't know you dated Tupac Shakur.
That was a surprise.
That's never been out there, I don't think.
So he pulls up, but guess who he pulls up with?
Who?
Like a virgin. That's Madonna.
E40 even shared a moment that captures it perfectly. One night, Tupac showed up at Saturday Night Live with weed, and Madonna was right there in the passenger seat. That was the vibe of their relationship. Reckless, magnetic, and impossible to ignore, but not weighed down by resentment from either side. The clearest sign of just how strongly Tupac felt, though, goes even deeper. Everything reached a breaking point in January 1995 while he was incarcerated at Clinton Correctional Facility. Before sunrise, around 4:30 a.m., he put pen to paper and wrote Madonna a handwritten letter that stretched across 3 pages. In it, he expressed regret over how their relationship ended and tried to explain the pain behind his choices. Much of the message carried real emotional weight. He reflected on how racism, in his view, made it harder for a young black man to openly and properly express love toward an older white woman. Alongside that, he took responsibility for the way he had acted. He also cautioned her about certain people around her, suggesting that not everyone in her circle had good intentions. More than anything, he wanted a direct conversation, even asking her to visit him in prison so they could speak face to face. Years later, that deeply personal note resurfaced in a very public way when it was put up for auction. Madonna attempted to stop the sale over privacy concerns, but the effort did not succeed. In the end, the letter sold for a high 6-figure price.
Just consider what that moment says. A 3-page apology written alone in a prison cell before dawn is not the kind of message someone sends after an ordinary split. It reads like the words of a man still fully consumed by a relationship he could not repair. E40 later said he witnessed that dynamic firsthand and believed Madonna was deeply invested. Pac carried that emotional intensity with him for the rest of his life. Back in 2013, Future and Ciara looked like one of hip-hop's biggest power couples. The romance felt larger than life. He even popped the question in Times Square, turning their relationship into a headline-making fairy tale. When their son, Future Zahir, was born in May 2014, it seemed like they were building a future that would last. Instead, everything unraveled with shocking speed. Before 2014 was over, the engagement had ended and the breakup quickly turned bitter. Ciara publicly claimed Future had been unfaithful with his stylist. He strongly rejected that accusation and later told Entertainment Weekly that while cheating plays a role in most breakups, he insisted that was not the reason their relationship collapsed. According to him, they simply drifted apart.
He wished for her and got her. Then he blew it. Future saw Ciara shooting a music video and told his mentor, "I'm gonna be with her someday." Fast forward 7 years and boom, wish granted. They fell hard, got engaged, and even tattooed their initials on each other. But just when it seemed perfect, drama struck. While Ciara was pregnant, rumors swirled about Future cheating with his personal shopper, Tyrina Lee. The wedding canceled. Ciara furious.
What happened next changed his image forever. Rather than staying quiet, Future poured the fallout into his music. Songs like Throwaway and Codeine Crazy from the Monster mixtape carried the emotional weight of the split, turning personal pain into dark, unforgettable records. Out of that era came the version of Future fans would come to recognize most, the damaged, emotionally detached, toxic persona that became central to his brand. Still, the story could have ended there. Ciara moved forward with her life. In 2016, she married Russell Wilson and built a new chapter with the NFL star and their family. For most people, that would have closed the book. Future, however, didn't seem ready to let it go.
Nearly 10 years after the breakup, in July 2023, he appeared on Quavo's Turn Yo Click Up and delivered a lyric widely viewed as a direct jab at Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson had no part in Ciara and Future's story. He simply fell in love with the woman who had already left that chapter behind and later became her husband. What makes it even more striking is what Future said years later. During a 2014 interview, he claimed he had essentially pictured Ciara in his life 7 years before they ever met. Think about that for a second. Years of focus before a single conversation. After that came the romance, the split, and then a long stretch of public comments that kept the drama alive. From the outside, it often looked like Ciara moved forward while Future kept circling back. As her life continued to rise, attention repeatedly returned to his music and remarks about her husband. Now shift to Meek Mill, because his story with Nicki Minaj had its own build-up. His interest didn't start once they got together. It goes all the way back to 2010. At the time, Meek was openly showing admiration online, sending tweets her way, dropping freestyles inspired by her, and even reworking Drake's Miss Me with lyrics that made his intentions impossible to miss. It was bold, unfiltered, and impossible to ignore. By 2014, Nicki's longtime relationship with Safari had ended, and Meek finally had his opportunity. The two began dating. She featured him on the Pink Print, and he went as far as calling her his fiancée in interviews. Later, in his conversation with The Breakfast Club, Meek made it clear that Nicki was everything he had been hoping for. For years, he talked that relationship into reality. When it finally happened, they looked like hip-hop royalty. Staying together for about 2.5 years, everything shifted in January 2017, when Nicki took to Twitter and made it official. The relationship was done, and she was focused on herself and her career.
Do you love Meek Mill? Because I love Meek Mill.
I hate you. I love what he represents for dudes that think like him, and act like him, and live like him. And I told him before, like, you're so important to our culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, we always need that type of guy, like that DMX.
Yes.
What came next was anything but quiet. Instead of fading out, the breakup turned into one of rap's most chaotic aftermaths. Social media became the battleground, with veiled Instagram posts, pointed tweets, and constant tension playing out in public. By 2020, things escalated even more when a heated exchange in West Hollywood was caught on camera. On top of that, there were accusations going back and forth, family members getting pulled into the drama, and several serious claims that kept the situation in headlines. His journey with Nicki almost reads like a movie with a rough ending. First, he spent years openly admiring her online. After that, he actually got the relationship he seemed to want so badly. Yet even long after it was over, he never seemed able to fully let go without more public fallout. What started like a dream he willed into existence ended up feeling more like a warning about loving someone too loudly and losing them in front of everyone. Then there's Youngboy Never Broke Again. In October 2020, NBA Youngboy released a freestyle called The Story of OJ Top Version using Jay-Z's beat. This wasn't a quiet hint or a playful nod. He made his intentions clear, rapping that he wanted Fee, his manager, and a longtime Lil Wayne associate, to deliver a message to Regina Carter, Lil Wayne's daughter. He was talking about Lil Wayne's daughter like the idea of having a child with her would be a huge moment. More surprising, he made it sound completely genuine. Once that line landed, people immediately started talking. Gossip spread fast, and the situation got even more heated when YFN Lucci, who had been in an on and off relationship with Regina, fired back publicly. Youngboy never tried to walk it back. There was no clarification, no softening, no attempt to clean it up. He let the lyrics stand exactly where it was, giving the entire hip-hop world something to debate.
Weeks after Lil Wayne's warning, NBA Youngboy couldn't let it go. Late one night, he dropped a track calling out O Block by name, daring them to respond. Hours later, the song leaked and Chicago lit up. Wayne called again, furious. "I told you, now you've set the whole board on fire." Days later, Youngboy's convoy was surrounded, not by fans, but by killers he recognized.
What made it hit harder was how direct it felt. This wasn't vague or coded. It came across like an obvious public shot at the daughter of a rap icon, with her ex reacting in real time on Instagram. Regina, though, never appears to have answered the comment herself. Nothing serious came out of it, and no romance followed. At the end of the day, it was a young artist from Baton Rouge using a buzzing freestyle to tell the world he wanted to start a family with someone he barely knew, all on record, for everyone to hear. Calling that bold still feels like an understatement. Yo Gotti took a very different route. Plenty of rappers flirt in songs and never hear a thing back. He managed to turn that kind of moment into something real. Near the end of 2015, Yo Gotti released Down in the DM, and the track quickly caught fire, on the radio, on the charts, and all across the industry. Listeners picked up on it almost immediately. This track was clearly about one person. The target of all that attention was Angela Simmons, the daughter of Rev Run from Run DMC. Nothing about the record felt vague or hidden. It came across like a polished, radio-ready anthem wrapped in the language of romance. What makes the story even more surprising is that it actually landed.
Angela took notice, and before long, the two were seeing each other. It wasn't just rumor or internet gossip either. The relationship was real, publicly acknowledged, and followed closely for a period of time. One interview with Yo Gotti sums up the whole vibe perfectly. During a recorded sit-down, Angela called him right in the middle of it. She was literally on the phone while he tried to play things cool. Even with him dodging questions, the connection between them was obvious in the moment.
Eventually, the relationship came to an end. In later interviews, Angela explained that the feelings were genuine, but they weren't fully in sync. Her view was that the love existed, yet the timing and readiness may not have matched. Still, for a short stretch, Yo Gotti pulled off something almost unbelievable. He made a hit record centered on the person he wanted, and that person ended up saying yes. That alone turned the whole situation into one of rap's most unexpected real-life success stories. Royce da 5'9". The 2011 BET Hip Hop Awards Shady 2.0 Cypher has become legendary. Eminem, Royce da 5'9", Slaughterhouse, and Yellow Wolf were all rapping over Try by 12. On a stage watched by millions, Royce da 5'9" slipped in a moment nobody saw coming. Right in the middle of his verse, he delivered just two simple words that took over social media for more than 20 hours. Bye, Rihanna. Nothing more. Just that. A beat later, he added a slick line saying that if she ever told him again that she loved his music, they'd be together. After that, he casually repeated it, "Bye, Rihanna," and moved on like it was nothing. Yet those two words, aired nationally in front of some of the most respected names in rap, were aimed at arguably the biggest pop star in the world. The internet exploded. Almost instantly, "Hi, Rihanna" began trending and stayed there for nearly an entire day. What happened next made the whole thing unforgettable. Rihanna actually answered. Her response was short, playful, and perfect. "Hi, Royce da 5'9". Later, Royce explained to Vibe that the line came from a real encounter, not imagination. During the V Festival in the UK, he had met Rihanna in person, and she approached him to say she liked one of his songs. That cypher moment was his way of calling back to that brief interaction from far away, hoping she'd catch the reference. She did.
That's why the line worked so well. It wasn't over the top or obsessive. There was no long speech, no awkward buildup, just pure confidence delivered with effortless timing. In one tiny moment, Royce turned a passing memory into a viral cultural event. He made it plain. He saw her, admired her, and had no problem saying it in front of hip-hop's biggest audience. Royce took his chance, Rihanna responded, and the internet instantly treated it like the moment of the year. No mess, no disrespect, no boundaries crossed. That's the blueprint. Now shift to Drake. We've already covered his long headline-making history with Rihanna, but she wasn't the only famous woman tied to his lyrics. There's a clear trend there. Back in 2010, he delivered one of the boldest celebrity crush bars rap had heard in years, and this time the attention landed on his Young Money label mate, Nicki Minaj. On Miss Me from Thank Me Later, Drake didn't exactly play it subtle. He rapped about loving Nicki, imagined the idea of marrying her someday just so they could say it happened, and made it clear he wasn't joking if she felt the same way. He even pointed to the effect her verses had on him and how striking she looked. For a debut album, that was a huge statement. It sounded less like a passing bar and more like a proposal tucked into a verse, aimed directly at someone on his own label. Over the years, Nicki has spoken about their connection in various interviews and appearances. Their relationship hasn't been simple. There were close moments, public tension, periods of distance, and eventually reconciliation. Through all of that, she has also said Drake gave her some of the best advice she's ever received. People close to her career say the connection felt like an old married couple, constant tension, quick makeups, and the same cycle repeating itself. Put that next to the Miss Me lyric and his well-known fixation on Rihanna, and the picture becomes hard to ignore. Drake doesn't simply admire women from a distance. He turns desire into hit records. One track sounds like a proposal. Another feels like longing set to a hook. Again and again, he builds entire songs around women he wants but can't fully reach. Some listeners hear passion in that. Others hear persistence pushed to the limit. It all depends on where you're standing when the music plays. Megan Thee Stallion showed this isn't just something male rappers do. Back in October 2020, during one of her viral Megan Monday freestyle clips, she slipped in a bold line. She said she wasn't into labels, but if she were going to date someone, it would be Michael. Just Michael. Naturally, the internet immediately went into detective mode. Before long, most people had settled on Michael B. Jordan. The clues were already out there.
Both of them had ties to Coach as ambassadors. They had also been seen together during New York Fashion Week. On top of that, after the incident involving Tory Lanez, Michael B. Jordan publicly showed support for Meghan. Taken together, it looked less like a random name drop and more like a very intentional public shot. In celebrity culture, sometimes one line is all it takes to launch a full-blown speculation storm. Meghan got public support from him on Twitter, and he didn't stop there. Flowers showed up too. She later mentioned him on her Instagram story and called him Waterhead, which made people think this wasn't some random celebrity interaction. That nickname felt personal. Under her twerking clips, he was also dropping flame emojis, adding even more fuel to the speculation. What made Meghan's move stand out from the other names here was how effortless it felt. No drawn-out drama, no bitter songs, no long-running attempt to get attention. Instead, it was a bold artist hopping on a freestyle and casually making her interests known in front of everyone. The entire music world was watching. Social media picked it up instantly, and suddenly one line turned into headline material for weeks. That's hip-hop crush culture in its most current form. Fast, public, and impossible to ignore. Now switch gears to 50 Cent, because this one is easily the most surprising story in the bunch. His longtime celebrity crush isn't a rap star or even someone from his own generation. It's Dame Helen Mirren, the iconic British actress in her 70s. For more than 10 years, 50 has openly talked about how attractive he finds her. Whether he was sitting down with Conan, Colbert, Fallon, or almost any other late-night host, he kept returning to the same point. Helen Mirren is his forever crush. He's even made jokes about patiently waiting in a respectful way while acknowledging that she's married. During a 2018 visit to Conan, he spelled out the moment she won him over. He described spotting her in the south of France and talked about the spark he felt, even though her husband was right there beside her. Remarkably, he has told that story the same way again and again over the years, always with a wink, a sense of humor, and full awareness of how over the top it sounds. Compared with the other stories on this list, 50 Cent takes things in a very different direction. His idea of crossing the line is turning the joke into a long-running bit, mentioning it on interview shows, across media appearances, and on so many platforms that Helen Mirren has even been asked to address it in her own interviews. At this point, it has become one of those celebrity running jokes that simply will not disappear. Still, in a lineup packed with diss tracks, prison letters, and years of very public longing, 50 Cent's ongoing, playful crush comes off as the most unexpectedly charming story here. Tap one of the cards on your screen to watch more videos like this.